Hi, I'm Meagan Rhodes. I'm with 12th and Broad, and we are all about backstage access to everything hyper-local in Nashville, and it doesn't get much more local than the Grand Ole Opry. And today we're going to have a special interview with Dan Rogers and Brenda Colladay. They have just written a book called Backstage at the Grand Ole Opry, and it's full of beautiful photos and stories of some special backstage access, quotes, interviews with stars about juicy stories. And so could you tell our readers a little bit about some of the juicy stories they could find?
Absolutely. You're going to read great stories about everyone from Carrie Underwood to Loretta Lynn to Dierks Bentley, some of the great Opry legends of the past, including Roy Acuff and Minnie Pearl. One of my favorites is that Vince Gill told us about a night that he was getting ready to leave the Opry, and Amy Grant had come along with him for the night. And this fella came into his dressing room and said, "Hey, you want to pick a song or two?" And Vince pulled the guitar out of his case and played with him, and the guy played his fiddle. And then on their way home, Amy looked over to Vince and said, "Man, that last guy must have been a real legend for you to have stuck around and played those songs with him." And Vince looked back at her and said, "I've never met that man before in my life. I have no idea who that is. Welcome to the Grand Ole Opry." That's what Backstage at the Opry is all about.
I love that. That's so Nashville.
It's very, very Nashville, you're right. And to this day, we have no idea who that guy was, so there you go.
I love it. Maybe he'll come out of the woodworks when he sees the book.
I was that guy with the fiddle, yeah.
I'd like to hear a little bit of the process of creating this book. The two of you, did you go out together and interview these stars, or how did you collect these stories?
Oh, individually and together, we got, we contacted some of the Opry members and, asked them questions, asked them about their special memories, and, gathered together over 250 great photographs so that we could give people like the 12th and Broad community backstage access by coming out to see a backstage tour or picking up a copy of the book. And so, we're really proud of what we are able to show people.
There was many a morning after an Opry show that one of us would call the other and say, "Oh, guess what I heard last night?" or "Guess what happened last night?" or "Vince Gill had this to say," or "I heard somebody talking about Garth Brooks. We should try to see what we can find out about that particular story." Or "This happened and I laughed out loud" is probably something we need to include.
I love it. So tell me, has anyone ever been banned from the Opry?
Yes, actually, one of our beloved Grand Ole Opry members, Dierks Bentley, previously worked right next door to the Grand Ole Opry house at the Nashville Network, and this was before, he had a record deal and all that, but he used his connections to get on the backstage list quite often, whether he was really working or not. So he showed up a lot, and eventually I kind of had to be told, you need to cut out coming backstage all the time, And then fast forward a few years, a few hit songs, a few Opry performances down the line. Dierks was actually invited to join the Grand Ole Opry cast. So the night that he was inducted into the Grand Ole Opry, he held up his membership award high and said, "Yeah, this is the ultimate backstage pass," and let us know we were never going to kick him out of backstage again.
I love it. I love it. One of my favorite stories is about our beloved blondes. Can you tell us about Taylor and Dolly?
Well, I love that story in that it shows anything can happen at the Grand Ole Opry House and backstage, and that you have Dolly Parton, who's been a member of the Grand Ole Opry for so many years, and then you have Taylor Swift, who's been on, this is probably her 5th or 6th time on the show, but she got to meet Dolly for the very first time backstage. And of course, everyone has a little fear maybe in meeting their heroes, hoping that they're everything you wanted them to be. And there weren't a lot of people in the room when they met, but we know that it went well for Taylor because she left the room and went skipping down the hallway. So happy that she had met Dolly. So I'm sure, like most of us would be.
What about Blake and Miranda? Do you have anything on them?
It was great that they were just on a couple of weeks ago and did Home together, which is great. And Blake actually hosts the daytime portion of our Backstage tour. So when you come take a daytime tour, you'll see Blake on video, of course, just sharing some of his favorite parts of Backstage, talking about what an honor it is to be a Grand Ole Opry member, and a couple of times they'll even tell you not to run down the hallways.
So, do you have anything about the flood that's near and dear to all of our Nashville hearts? Because I know it got devastated in the Opry area.
Yes, I mean, the Grand Ole Opry House, I mean, I'm sure as everyone saw the footage, had almost 4 feet of water over the stage. So it was completely devastated, but that gave us a great opportunity to come back in and turn the Backstage area into a real showcase of the Grand Ole Opry story. And if you haven't had a chance to come out and take a tour of the Backstage at the Grand Ole Opry House, you should. It's a fantastic tour. Each of our dressing rooms is themed to tell a part of the Grand Ole Opry story, so it's just really a cool thing to do.
What's your favorite theme? Which room?
Oh, personally, I love the It Takes Two room that's dedicated to some great Opry duets of the past, June and Johnny and Dolly and Porter and Loretta and Conway and Blake and Miranda and Amy and Vince, but I love the style of the room is very kind of 60s mod, so that's why it's my favorite.
And my favorite is actually right next door, and that's the Friends and Neighbors room. And I love that it celebrates all these different people from all walks of life that you would never expect to be at the Grand Ole Opry, but they're there because it's where they want to be when they're in Nashville. Everyone from Kevin Costner, the Academy Award winner, who's actually played the Opry a time or two, and Bob Schieffer, who also played, to folks like Tony Bennett, Anderson Cooper. There's a great shot of Paul McCartney talking to Porter and Dolly. So that's my favorite, just to see all of these random figures that came and enjoyed the show.
Oh, I can't wait to see it myself. So how would our 12th and Broad members get a chance to go backstage?
Well, you can always come backstage by purchasing a Backstage tour. We're open for the most part 7 days a week unless something's happening at the Opry House. You can also take a post-show tour, which is really fun to witness an Opry show, and then almost immediately afterward get to walk through those halls. And we also do a VIP tour where you can actually be backstage during the performance, and you can always go backstage now these days via your armchair just by flipping through the book, and those are available at all the Nashville stores, the Opry Shop out at the Opry House, Opry Originals, and the Ryman, and of course the book and everything else is available at opry.com as well.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today. I hope you have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Come and see us.